It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of June 13th, 1997. We have 5 movies to look at today, and some notable movies, so let's go ahead and jump on into it, and we'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend. Not only that, but it's also probably my second biggest guilty pleasure of all time after Space Jam. And that movie is, of course, Speed 2, Cruise Control. Yeah, that didn't come out on June 6th, as you can tell, but, yeah, Speed 2 was not a big hit, critically or financially, compared to the first movie, and how that shattered and changed the action movie game as we know it. This movie got really bad reviews, only 3% on Rotten Tomatoes, and, two of the people that really liked it, Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert, they wrote the film's only 2 positive reviews for the film, and on their show, gave it 2 thumbs up, calling it a truly rousing ocean liner adventure story. And Roger Ebert defended the movie all the way up to the year before he died. I mean, he wrote an article about his film that inspired more disbelief than any other that he had written and frequently cited as an example of him being a poor film critic. But he defended this all the way up to his death. I mean, he spoke about the difficulty of making such films as Speed 2 and defended his review by basically telling people at this conference on World Affairs, he offered them a Speed 3 contest for anyone to create a 5-minute short film that takes place on something that cannot stop moving. And, I mean, truth be told, I kind of see Speed 2 the same way he does. I mean, it's not a great movie by any means, but it is a very creative and very energetic action movie. I mean, the action scenes, the special effects in particular, are kind of the highlight of the movie. I mean, you could see where the $110 million budget went into this. I mean, the scene towards the end where the boat crashes into the pier, that does not look fake by any means necessary. And that was 1997, when they really clearly could have used CG effects on that level. And the fact that they went practical on it, it doesn't look fake at all. And that's great. That's great to see on there. But, like I said, it's a real guilty pleasure movie because a lot of this movie really pales in comparison to the first movie for a number of reasons. Number one, of course, is the cast and characters. I mean, Sandra Bullock's the only returning cast member from this movie. She's really limited down in here compared to the first movie. They don't really give her much to do in this, even though she's part of the main focus of the film. And other than that, it's also Jason Patric's character and Willem Dafoe, which we'll get to him in a minute. But the movie clearly forgets that Sandra Bullock actually was kind of an important part of the first movie. And because of her, she was able to help Keanu Reeves get all the passengers off the bus before it explodes. Here it's just like, hey, Sandra, we know that you did so much for us in the first movie, and that was integral to the plot, but hey, why don't you take a break and let the big guys take over? And when I say big guys, I mean Jason Patric. I mean, trust me, he's no Keanu Reeves in this movie either. He just comes off as this stock leading man action hero you'd find in a B-rate action movie, like something from the 90s direct-to-video action movie era. I mean, he's not a bad actor per se, but he's just not somebody who should be on the same caliber of Keanu Reeves. I mean, that was their first mistake right there, was not getting trying at least to get him back or get somebody close to that. The only character in this movie you kind of root for is Willem Dafoe, who's playing, I would think, an even more cartoonishly evil villain than he does when he plays the Green Goblin in the Spider-Man movies, at least in the Sam Raimi films, not like No Way Home, where they actually kind of redeem him a bit. Even he realizes that he's in on in this movie. He's in on a lousy film, but he's not going to let that stop him from being over the top and crazy that he is in here. I mean, you see the memes for a reason. Like, he is a ton of fun to watch in here. But let's get to the biggest problem with the movie, which stems from the obvious reason why this movie wasn't a hit. Why is that? I don't know. Boats aren't that fast. I mean, for follow-up to Speed, a movie about a bus that can't go under 50 miles an hour or else it will explode, making every moment once that countdown starts every bit as tense as it gets. There's really no excitement in watching a damn boat moving slower than 3 miles an hour in an action sequel where the first movie was going over 50 miles an hour. I mean, Family Guy probably made the best joke about what a Speed 3 would have looked like.
Speed 3, Glacier of Doom. If this glacier goes slower than 1 mile a year, we're all dead!
Tell me something I don't know! Get out of the way!
I mean, come on, it pretty much speaks for itself. I mean, yeah, as a follow-up to Speed, this is a mess. I mean, there's just something about this movie to me that just makes it one of those really great guilty pleasure films for me. Maybe it's because of just how stupid and pointless it is compared to the original. Maybe it's because an executive at Fox looked at this and didn't throw the writer out the window for how stupid this is. I'm willing to bet you that once they saw this movie, they basically said, you know what, this Titanic movie with we got James Cameron on it, but we cannot put this movie out as close to this movie as push it all the way to the holiday season. Like they may say it was because of the budget getting in the way and the film not being ready to go. But I mean, come on, man, what more can you say about this movie in 1990s? But I mean, then again, they also had a much better 1997 summer movie that took place in the water without the sea, which we'll get to in a couple of weeks. But I don't know, maybe it's just because of how uninspired it is. Whatever it is, Speed 2 is just one of those biggest guilty pleasures I've ever had. I mean, it's a mess of a film. It definitely pales in comparison to the first movie, but it's a fun mess. It's one of those so bad it's good movies that's definitely worth checking out every time I see it. I defend this movie to the end, man. This is not a great film, but goddamn, it is one of the best guilty pleasure films I have ever seen. So, oh yeah, Speed 2 Cruise Control. It was fun getting to this one finally. So, with that said, there wasn't any other big new wide releases, but in limited release, in one theater, which is I think it was in Los Angeles, Disney released their latest animated feature that was coming out, and that was, of course, Hercules. Hercules comes to us, of course, from the same directors who did The Little Mermaid, The Great Mouse Detective, and Aladdin. This is their first movie since Aladdin that they did, and it was received positively. It was a hit, but you kind of started to see a little bit of the downturn that Disney's second golden age was going through here, because this film as The Hunchback of Notre Dame just barely hit $100 million. This one barely missed $100 million. They can end up somewhere around $99 million domestically. It still was a big hit worldwide. It made over $257 million worldwide, so it was still considered a success. That eventually led to a TV series that aired on one Saturday morning, I think a year or two afterwards. There are things about Hercules that can be considered really good. I think the animation overall is very good. It's a beautifully blended mix of the traditional Disney animation along with the usage of the rising computer animation that will play into effect later on down the road. I like the voice casting here. James Woods as Hades, that's just pitch-perfect casting right there, and he's a ton of fun to listen to here. And you've got great music by Alan Menken as well. I mean, usually he will put his all into it, regardless of how terrible a movie is. I mean, other than that, though, I think the movie itself is just kind of generic, honestly. It felt like Disney was trying to do a Greek version of the story of Superman. Both stories are very similar to each other, and unlike other movies that rip it off, X-Men Origins Wolverine, they tried their best to make it something different to the Superman story, but still, it's hard not to see it as kind of generic and cliche, and even the relationship between Hercules and Meg in this movie is pretty generic. There's nothing about their personalities or characteristics that make them unique compared to some of the other Disney romantic leads, like Aladdin and Jasmine, or Ariel and Prince Eric, or Beast and Belle. Like, I think those relationships work a lot better than these two work together here. It's a very mixed bag film. It's got some good elements to it, but it is a major step down compared to what Disney had done in the past 8 years. I mean, it's no Little Mermaid, it's no Aladdin, it's especially no Beauty and the Beast or Lion King. It's not a bad movie per se, but certainly not one of Disney's stronger animated films. I think it is a decently made film, but overall, it's definitely a step down compared to what we had seen from them at this point. And I won't say it would have been the direct end of the Renaissance, because they would still have Mulan and Tarzan coming up after this, but it was definitely showing signs that they were kind of starting to show that they weren't the big powerhouse they used to be. But like I said, it's not a bad movie at all. It's just not one of their stronger films. I still enjoy it, but there are definitely a lot of more holes you can poke through on this particular film. So that's my thoughts on Hercules. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie that we've got here, and that is Peter Fonda in Yuli's Gold. Yuli's Gold tells the story of this reclusive beekeeper who slowly pulls his dysfunctional family back together, but not without having to fight his son's previously dastardly cohorts. And this is one of those last films that Orion Pictures had in their vault because of their bankruptcy, and really, it's one of the most underrated films, probably the best film that they had left over, because it's a showcase to show that, hey, Peter Fonda is still a pretty damn good actor. He plays Ely Jackson in this movie very well, and he got a well-deserved Academy Award nomination for Best Actor in here. He's really terrific in the film. I think this was the film that relaunched his career a bit. He's surrounded by a very good cast as well. Patricia Richardson, Jessica Biel's also in here, just at the peak of her Seventh Heaven starts. This is directed by Victor Nunez, whose last movie was the film that kind of launched Ashley Judd into. The film that kind of launched Ashley Judd into the spotlight with Ruby in Paradise, which is a very good film. It's a very underrated film. I don't think a lot of people really talk about it all that much, but it definitely feels like there's a lot here that really makes this film work. You buy into this relationship this family has, and you buy into their story, that there's the situations they're dealing with here. I think it's a very solid, entertaining film that delivers on everything that you would want in a good movie, in a good family drama like this. This isn't like one of those typical melodramas where you can easily pinpoint the emotional manipulation they're pulling at you. Every moment in this movie feels earnest, and every moment where they feel like they need to come together, it feels earnest. It doesn't feel like it's being forced onto you. It's just a terrific, entertaining film. One that is very underrated, and I don't think a lot of people really understand how really good this movie is. I mean, it's gaining more of an attention almost 30 years later. So I am glad to see that the following on it is growing and growing. I don't even think it's a cult following, honestly. I think people are just coming around to it and realizing that this movie is much better than anyone would have given it credit for. And Peter Fonda can still act his ass off, man. Like I said, this was the film that helped him relaunch his career at that point, because his career kind of took a nosedive, probably around the late 80s, early 90s, and then this film helped him get back up on his feet again, and so on and so forth. And yeah, it's a really damn good film. If you haven't seen Yuli's Gold, go and check it out, because you are missing something really special here. With that said, on to the next movie, and that is Temptress Moon from the director of Farewell My Concubine. So, not far from Shanghai, in a country town, stands this home of the Peng family, with old Master Peng being an addict who brings up his beautiful daughter, Ruyi, on opium smoke. Her older brother is Zangida. He's addicted as well, and then paralyzed and effectively brain dead. And then his brother-in-law is a successful gigolo in Shanghai who seduces older married women and then blackmails them. When older Master Peng dies, the clan elders made Rui take over the role as the head of the household. Zongliang, I know I'm probably getting these names wrong here. I'm just reading off what it says here. He returns to the Peng family on the death of old Master Peng. He encounters Rui, and they are secretly attracted to each other. Wanting to seem sophisticated, she succumbs to his attempts to seduce her, but then an emotional maelstrom follows for the anxious, jealous, and sexually frustrated sister, who's also part of the picture here. I have not seen this movie, so I don't really know if it's any good or not, but it definitely feels like a step down compared to the last film this guy directed, Farewell My Concubine, which was a widely praised film. The reviews for this did not seem as positive, and this film actually got banned in mainland China by state authorities. So I really don't know if it's any good or not. I wish I had some more to tell you about it, but I really do not. So came out that weekend. Just wanted to bring it up. So that's Temptress Moon. Let's go ahead and move on to the last film, and that is Wedding Bell Blues. I don't actually know if that's actually the plot of the film, but from the storyline I see here, 3 women are apartment mates. One's about to be married, another discovers she is pregnant from her longtime boyfriend, and the third has an endless queue of men in and out of her bedroom, and of course they end up in Las Vegas, because of course they do, and you see the names in there: Elena Douglas, Paulina Poroskova, Julie Warner. You also have John Corbett in here, Charles Martin Smith, Carla Gugino, Debbie Reynolds also shows up in here as well. As far as I know, I've never heard of this movie, so I can't tell you if it's any good or not. I don't see any reviews for it, so I have no idea if it's actually any good, but I don't know. This movie feels like a watered-down version of something like The Hangover, or something like a comedy that you've seen many times before, like A Honeymoon in Vegas, or even Leaving Las Vegas, which I think those movies are, from what I've seen, are done much better. But I don't know. This film could end up being good. I doubt it, because I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen any good, strong views on this that might make me think that this could actually be good. But it's got a good enough cast to make it work. I mean, Elena Douglas, Julie Warner, John Corbett. capable actors in here, so maybe it's got a shot. I mean, I don't know. I'm not too certain myself. I don't know if it's any good or not. Like I said, I haven't seen it, but maybe it has a chance to be good. I don't know. So with that said, that wraps up another edition of Time About the Movies. Another good week coming up on the next episode. We have some movies that will make for some very interesting conversations, including the infamous Batman and Robin with George Clooney and Chris O'Donnell, as well as Arnold Schwarzenegger, Alicia Silverstone, and Uma Thurman. And we also have Julia Roberts in the comedy My Best Friend's Wedding. We have Dream with the Fishes, The Last Time I Committed Suicide, Fall, and Rosanna's Grace. So 6 movies to look at next time around. And we will delve into all those on the next episode and then some. So with that said, thank you very much for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And as always, if you want to see more of these videos, hit the like and subscribe on this channel to see more if you want. And with that said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. And until then, take care.